So in the last video, I got kind of emotional thinking about Beowulf's life and his journey and how his comrades have sort of left him, except for one young man named Wiglaf, who is about to join his side, right? So let's read the subtext here. They're fighting the dragon. Beowulf's shield is melted, his sword has broken, and Wiglaf joins the battle here. So let's read the subtext, the setup here. Wiglaf joins Beowulf, who again attacks the dragon single-handed. But the remnant of his sword shatters, and the monster wounds him in the neck. Wiglaf then strikes the dragon, and he and Beowulf together finally succeed in killing the beast. Their triumph is short-lived, however, because Beowulf's wounds prove to be mortal. In other words, mortal means that you will die. So he's going to die. So they skip some actual poetry here so that they can get to this end. You know, now Beowulf is going to die, right? So they skipped the poetry of the battle after Wiglaf joins. So just understand, like, Wiglaf joins, they fight together in unison, and together they take down the dragon. Even though Beowulf is using his hands, his bare hands again, right? And Wiglaf strikes the dragon, and then the two of them together kill the beast. This is very sort of like, epic moment of the torch sort of being passed on, right? And again, I keep going back to Dragon Ball Z because I just have to. It's almost like that moment in the Cell saga. And if you know what I'm talking about, cool. And if you don't, maybe Google the Gohan and Goku versus Cell. There's this moment where, Goku has died and his spirit kind of goes to Gohan, and they're able to defeat Cell together. And it's like this beautiful moment of, the legacy lives on in the next generation. And this moment is a lot like this, guys. A lot like that. So here we go. Beowulf spoke in spite of the swollen, livid wound, knowing he'd unwound his string of days on earth, seen as much as God would grant him. All worldly pleasure was gone, as life would go soon. So his livid wound, it's discolored and bruised. He is badly hurt. He is going to utter some of his last words here. I would leave my armor to my son. Now, if God had given me an heir, a child born of my body, his life created from mine. So very interesting that Beowulf did not have kids. He was so obsessed with glory, he was so obsessed with leaving a legacy that he didn't even leave a legacy in the form of a family, like a son or a daughter. I have worn this crown for 50 winters. No neighboring people have tried to threaten the Geats, sent soldiers against us, or talked of terror. My days have gone by as fate willed, waiting for its word to be spoken, ruling as well as I knew how, swearing no unholy oaths, seeking no lying wars. So he was kind of a wise king. There's sort of this Christian thing, embedded again in here. He sought no unholy oaths, but in a way, he's saying, I didn't do it for bad reasons. I did it all for the right reasons. I wanted my country to be great. I wanted my friends and my beloved countrymen to thrive. He is not doing, he didn't do it. He didn't do anything to become, wealthy or something. He never sold out. He never sold out. He did it for the right reason. I can leave this life happy. I can die here, knowing the Lord of all life has never watched me wash my sword in blood, born of my own family. He never betrayed any of his own people. Beloved Wiglaf, go quickly, find the dragon's treasure. We've taken its life, but its gold is ours too. Hurry. Bring me ancient silver, precious jewels, shining armor and gems before I die. Death will be softer, leaving life and this people I've ruled so long, if I look at this last of all prizes. So the rewards and the treasure and all the things that Beowulf has earned over the course of his life, this represents sort of the values of he and these people, right? So, somewhat materialistic, right? But I don't necessarily mean that in like a judgy way, but he's realizing, let me look upon the things that I've earned. Let me look upon the loot from this dragon. It will help me die with greater ease to know that it was for something. Then Wexton's son went in, Wexton's son being Wiglaf. Then Wexton's son went in as quickly as he could, did as the dying Beowulf asked, entered the inner darkness of the tower, went with his mail shirt and his sword. Flushed with victory, he groped his way, a brave young warrior, and suddenly saw piles of gleaming gold, precious gems scattered on the floor, cups and bracelets, rusty old helmets, beautifully made, but rotting with no hands to rub and polish them. They lay where the dragon left them. It had flown in the darkness once before fighting its final battle. So gold can easily triumph, defeat the strongest of men, no matter how deep it is hidden. And he saw, hanging high above, a golden banner, woven by the best of weavers and beautiful. So, hang on. Sorry about this. Okay. So there's gold, gleaming, precious, rusted old helmets. They lay where the dragon left. Gold can easily triumph, defeat the strongest of men, no matter how deep it is hidden. So again, there's this theme here that like greed is something that can corrupt. The reason why this dragon was angered in the first place was someone came and stole the gold. And over everything he saw a strange light shining everywhere, on walls and floors and treasure. Nothing moved. No other monsters appeared. He took what he wanted, all the treasures that pleased his eye, heavy plates and golden cups and the glorious banner, loaded his arms with all they could hold. So in a way, and again, this is something I've thought about a lot. I've read this story a bunch of times now. Beowulf has, in a way, kind of earned this treasure in a way that thieves could never do. And so I think the light is meant probably to represent the fact that, the evil that sort of maybe lurked in here is purged now, and that it's safe. Like the light kind of represents like it's safe now, like things are going to be okay now. Beowulf's dagger, his iron blade, had finished the fire-spitting terror. That's a kenning, by the way. Hint, hint, wink, wink, because I don't want any of you guys to be like, Mr. Durig, I couldn't finish my chart. There's another kenning. That once protected tower and treasures alike. The gray-bearded lord of the Geats had ended those flying, burning raids forever. All right, bunch of kennings in that passage. Then Wiglaf went back, anxious to return while Beowulf was alive, and to bring him treasure they'd won together. He ran, hoping his wounded king, weak and dying, had not left the world too soon. Remember, he's getting the treasure because he wants to show it to Beowulf. That was Beowulf's last request there. Then he brought their treasure to Beowulf, and found his famous king bloody, gasping for breath. But Wiglaf sprinkled water over his lord, until the words deep in his breast broke through and were heard. Beholding the treasure, he spoke haltingly. So Beowulf is speaking. He sees the treasure finally. What does he say about it? So we're getting Beowulf's words here. This is the quotation Mark is referring to. So now we have the voice of Beowulf. For this gold, these jewels, I thank our Father in heaven, ruler of the earth. For all of this that his grace has given me, allowed me to bring to my people while breath still came to my lips. I sold my life for this treasure, and I sold it well. So in this moment, we have kind of a selfless thought, I fought for this treasure, I'm going to die, but at least I can leave it to my people. Take what I leave, Wiglaf. Lead my people. Help them. My time is gone. Have the brave Geats build me a tomb. When the funeral flames have burned me, and build it here at the water's edge, high on this spot of land, so sailors can see this tower, and remember my name, and call it Beowulf's Tower, and boats in the darkness and mist crossing the sea will know it. So, I've mentioned maybe once or twice here, like Beowulf's goal is to leave a legacy behind. And so the way he does it, he doesn't have a family. This is how we might do it in our day and age, right? He doesn't have a family, but he is going to leave the memory of himself. He is going to leave a tower. That is his last request. He says, build a tower that will shine brightly and that all of the passing ships in the night will see it. And then they will remember me by this. Then that brave king gave the golden necklace from around his throat to Wiglaf, gave him his gold-covered helmet and his rings and his mail shirt, and ordered him to use them well. So he's really, and remember, so he's leaving the treasure and all of his earthly possessions to Wiglaf, who in this moment has stepped up and really just, he was kind of like in that moment the last person to stand by Beowulf's side, so it makes sense. But this sort of like is meant to sort of represent that, there are rewards for loyalty, or at least there should be, right? This is representing the values of these people. It's important to be loyal to your king, especially when it's a great man like Beowulf. You are the last of our far-flung family. Fate has swept our race away, taken warriors in their strength and led them to the death that was waiting, and now I follow them. So that's Wiglaf's comment back. You are the last of our family. Fate has swept our race away. I will follow them to death. Or did I have that backwards? No, that's Beowulf. I'm so sorry. Beowulf is saying that now I will follow the dead warriors, and you, Wiglaf, are the last of our race of warriors. You are the last worthy man. You are the last epic hero. I was, an epic hero. Now I pass that on to you. You are the last of us. The old man's mouth was silent, spoke no more, had said as much as it could. He would sleep in the fire soon. His soul left his flesh, flew to glory. So they burn Beowulf. And so his soul has left, presumably gone to heaven, with the Christian influence here. But, he's gone, and he's going to leave a legacy with this last request. And when the battle was over, Beowulf's followers came out of the woods, cowards and traitors, knowing the dragon was dead, afraid, while it spit its fires, to fight in their lord's defense, to throw their javelins and spears. They came like shame-faced jackals, their shields in their hands, to the place where the prince lay dead, and waited for Wiglaf to speak. He was sitting near Beowulf's body, wearily sprinkling water in the dead man's face, trying to stir him. He could not. No one could have kept. Good example of kenning here, by the way. Strong one with a period. 2 periods in the middle of this line. Caesura. Did I say kenning? Strong example of caesura if you need those for your chart. I know this is the last video. No one could have kept life in their Lord's body, or turned aside the Lord's will. World and men and all move as he orders, and always have and always will. So this line here, no one could have kept the life in the body, blah, 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 as he orders. This is saying that the Christian influence here, you have the uppercase he, referring to the Christian God, right? Obviously saying that try as they might, only God has the power to bring people back from the dead. So just emphasizing again that Beowulf is really dead, despite the efforts of these men. And it was an easy opportunity for the authors to throw some more Christian ideas in there. Then Wiglaf turned and angrily told them what men without courage must hear. Wexton's brave son stared at the traitors, his heart sorrowful, and said what he had to. So Wiglaf's about to give them the business. He's going to say what men without courage must hear. He's going to speak truth to cowards. I say what anyone who speaks the truth must say. Too few of his warriors remembered to come when our Lord faced death alone. And now the giving of swords, of golden rings and rich estates is over, ended for you and everyone who shares your blood. When the brave Geats hear how you bolted and ran, none of your race will have anything left but their lives. And death would be better for them all and for you than the kind of life you can lead, branded with disgrace. Woof. So consequences, right? Like you are just, you will have no wealth, you will have no title. The world will want nothing to do with you for your cowardice. You've doomed your families. Then the warriors rose, walked slowly down from the cliff, stared at those wonderful sights, stood weeping as they saw Beowulf dead on the sand, their bold ring-giver resting in his last bed. He had reached the end of his days, their mighty war king, the great lord of the Geats, gone to a glorious death. Woof, right? All right, so just a small passage here. We have mourning Beowulf. How is he remembered? Almost done. So thank goodness they did do his last wish, right? Then the Geats built the tower as Beowulf had asked, strong and tall, so sailors could find it from far and wide. Working for 10 long days they made his monument, sealed his ashes in walls as straight and high as wise and willing hands could raise them. The riches he and Wiglaf had won from the dragon, rings, necklaces, ancient hammered armor. All the treasure they'd taken were left there too. Silver and jewels buried in the sandy ground, back in the earth again, and forever hidden and useless to men. So all of the gold, all of the riches, right? So what, it seems like such a materialistic thing, right? To slay the dragon and be like, yes, I got the treasure. But they bury the treasure with Beowulf. It is for no other man. Because all the other cowards are not deserving of it, right? For one, right? But also, it's meant to honor him, right? So they build this big tower and they put all of the dragon's treasure in it. And then 12 of the bravest Geats rode their horses around the tower, telling their sorrow, telling stories of their dead king and his greatness, his glory, praising him for heroic deeds, for a life as noble as his name. So should all men raise up words for their lords, warm with love when their shield and protector leaves his body behind, sends his soul on high. And so Beowulf's followers rode, mourning their beloved leader, crying that no better king had ever lived, no prince so mild, no man so open to his people, so deserving of praise. The end. So Beowulf is gone. He is remembered forever in the sorrowful songs of his people. This is going to connect into what we read next week. We're going to talk a little bit about elegies, funeral songs, so to speak, or funeral poetry. And that's going to connect there. But you don't have to worry about that till next week. Make sure you guys get all your homework done. And thank you for tuning in. And make sure you use all this stuff about Beowulf to get your work done.